South Africa is once again confronting a moment of intense political scrutiny as renewed allegations linked to the Phala Phala farm saga place President Cyril Ramaphosa under the spotlight. At the center of the latest developments is a report linked to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, raising fresh questions about conduct, accountability, and the possible abuse of state power. The issue is not new, but the implications are becoming more serious. The Phala Phala controversy dates back to a 2020 incident at the president's private game farm in Limpopo, where a large sum of foreign currency was reportedly stolen. What initially appeared to be a security breach quickly evolved into a complex political and legal matter. Allegations emerged that the incident may not have been reported through official channels and that parallel actions were taken to recover the stolen money. Now, with details from the IPID process coming into focus, those concerns are being revisited with renewed urgency. According to political figures and opposition voices, the findings raise critical questions about whether proper procedures were followed and whether state resources were used inappropriately. This has led to growing calls for accountability, including demands for impeachment proceedings against the president. However, it is important to understand the legal and constitutional framework surrounding such calls. Impeachment in South Africa is a serious and complex process. It requires clear evidence of a violation of the Constitution or serious misconduct, and it must be supported by a significant majority in Parliament. At this stage, while calls for impeachment are intensifying in political circles, no formal process has been concluded. What is clear, however, is that the political pressure is increasing. Opposition parties, including the economic freedom fighters, have been vocal in demanding accountability, arguing that the allegations undermine public trust in the presidency. At the same time, the African National Congress has maintained a more cautious stance, emphasizing due process and the need to allow legal institutions to complete their work. This divide reflects a broader tension within South African politics. On one side, there is a demand for immediate accountability. On the other, a focus on procedural fairness and institutional processes. The role of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate is also central to this story. As a body tasked with investigating misconduct within the police, IPID's findings carry weight, but its mandate has limits. It investigates police conduct, not presidential actions directly. This means that while its findings may raise concerns, they form part of a broader legal and political process that involves multiple institutions. Legal experts point out that the Phala Phala matter has already passed through several layers of scrutiny. These include parliamentary processes, independent panels, and ongoing investigations by law enforcement agencies. Each of these processes has contributed pieces to a complex and evolving picture. What makes the current moment significant is the convergence of these findings with growing political pressure. The narrative is shifting from isolated allegations to a broader debate about governance, accountability, and the use of power. There are also deeper implications for South Africa's institutions. The credibility of oversight bodies, the independence of law enforcement agencies, and the strength of constitutional processes. For many observers, this is about more than one individual. It is about whether the system works, whether institutions can hold even the highest office accountable, and whether the rule of law is applied consistently. The political timing is also critical. South Africa is operating in a coalition environment following the 2024 elections, with no single party holding overwhelming dominance. In such an environment, issues of credibility and trust carry even greater weight. For President Ramaphosa, the stakes are high. His leadership has been closely associated with efforts to restore integrity in government following the era of state capture. Allegations of misconduct, therefore, strike at the core of that narrative. For his supporters, the emphasis remains on due process and the absence of conclusive findings that directly implicate him in wrongdoing. For his critics, the existence of unanswered questions is itself a concern. This divide is likely to continue shaping political discourse in the weeks and months ahead. As investigations proceed and political pressure builds, the focus will remain on key questions. Were laws or procedures violated? Were state resources used appropriately? And what level of accountability is required? For the public, the issue touches on fundamental principles: transparency, accountability, and trust in leadership. These are not abstract concepts. They directly affect how citizens view their government and its institutions. As South Africa navigates this moment, the outcome of the Phala Phala matter could have lasting implications, not only for the presidency, but for the broader political and institutional landscape. For now, the situation remains unresolved, but one thing is clear: the pressure is building, and the demand for answers is not going away.